Hello there, my name is Sixo, but more on that later, as right now we've got a spot of cheating to do as we're about to get rough and ready with this beastly bot. Let's have a look. BVM-03 Metal Leopard Commander is the latest release from third-party newcomer Transart, and sees them bringing to life another Beast Wars character in Masterpiece style. It's Cheetor. As with their last figure, this is a depiction of the character's transmetal appearance, meaning that in a bit of a twist it has a more organic looking robot form and a very shiny mechanical beast mode. Cheetor first appears as a transmetal in the Season 2 opening episode Aftermath, where he's upgraded following exposure to a quantum surge and now possesses an additional flight mode.
Beast mode!
It takes him a little while to get the hang of this new power, but the results are still fun to watch. I'm already a big fan of Transart's previous figure, known rather humorously as Skateboard Gorilla, and as Transmetal Cheetor remains one of my favourite Beast Wars cartoon designs, I'm very excited to see how this new toy fares today. Last thing before we begin, today's review comes courtesy of TF Source, so you will find a link to their site in the video description below. The plan for today is to give you my first impressions before getting a full photo review up on their blog soon. So here is Metal Panther Commander in his box, and aside from that absolutely gorgeous artwork, I really love the kind of shiny lettering that they've got going on there as well. That looks fab. Not much to report on the back, but there is this kind of fun artwork depicting what his crew quarters might have looked like inside the Axolon. You've got his spare tail weapons on the wall just there, and a little potted plant, that's cute. A little picture of Black Arachnia, which is rather curious, and this photo just here of him and Optimus out on an adventure as well, so all rather charming. But let's go ahead and get it open and see what's inside. I'm dead excited for this one actually, because I absolutely loved their Optimus Primal. Now we've got a bit of a double layered clamshell going on here, as just underneath here you've got a little flight stand similar to what we got with Optimus, so that's kind of neat. And then for the main toy, it's just in the top layer just there, looking rather swish. So included in the box we've got these blast effect pieces, very similar to what we found on Optimus as well. We've got all the various pieces that make up that flight stand, we'll take a look at that in a bit. We've got the two pieces which make up his tail weapon, and I do like that this piece actually has a little bit of a bend in it as well. It's got a slightly flexible thing going on, so that seems kind of fun. You have this oh so important Transart branded piece of cloth, which is of course used for polishing the chrome on the back of your toy. Now that is essential. I actually own two of these now. And then you get this little character card for this guy, and indeed for their Optimus Primal as well. I guess maybe there wasn't one in that package, I don't really remember. And then of course we've got the toy itself, which is a really fun one to look at, because, you know, on the one hand it's Transmetal Cheetor, just, you know, ripped right out the cartoon. It's a great approximation of his cartoon model, but it's not that dissimilar from the original toy as well, so it is kind of a funny one to take a look at. I do want to dispel one myth right off the bat though, and that's that this is not a KO. It's not a KO of the original toy. I still see people referring to it as such occasionally, and indeed their Optimus Primal toy as well. No, it's a wholly original design, third party produced, you know, still unofficial of course, but not a KO, very definitely, as we'll see. It is quite clearly intended to be Masterpiece scale though, or at least kind of approximating that, and it does look really nice and big and chunky. Love the proportions going on here. I think it's spot on to the cartoon, as I say. I always felt like the cartoon had much kind of chunkier thighs, chunkier legs, and just generally kind of, you know, a bit more kind of physically built than the original toy, much as I did love it, and I feel like they've captured that here very nicely. I mean, I don't know when you last watched the Beast Wars cartoon, but if it's been a while you should really give it a go. Either way, that is Transmetal Cheetor from the show to a T, let me tell you. That said, I'm not 100% in love with the face, so I've got to be honest. I do think that the head itself is alright, and it kind of captures the general look. It's just this kind of slightly goofy looking face that they've got going on. It's just not quite what I had in mind somehow. I don't know, just like the cheeks seem a little bit puffy to me somehow. It just doesn't kind of capture him in the way that I was hoping for. It's okay, but I don't know, I'm not sold, as I say. And I'm a little bit disappointed because the original Transmetal Cheetor toy I do love, but the face had this kind of weird grimace to it, and this was something I was really hopeful for on this toy, that they would kind of, you know, really nail it. Now you can move the jaw, as you can see just there, just a little bit, and he's got two very tiny little sharp teeth in there, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, overall, I don't know, it's going to take a bit of getting used to. Really like his spotted cheetah print pecs though, that looks rather good and suitably muscular too. The arms might look weird to some, but they are a very close approximation of how his hands appear in the cartoon, and indeed the original toy, actually, with these kind of claws inside the cat head, so it's accurate if nothing else. And of course that means you've got the cat head on the underside of the hands just there. It's got a bit more articulation than the old toy, so that's kind of interesting to see. There are those chunky thighs in all their glory. They look really good. Really like this kind of greeny blue that they've got going on there as well. That works well. A nice kind of silver finish going on the lower legs just there. All looks really, really good. Then of course if we come around to the back, you've got that absolutely blinging gold chrome on the back there. It looks really quite spectacular and seems to be quite nicely finished as well, so hopefully no kind of scuff wears like you used to get on the old toys, but it's really, really quite shiny. In fact, you can see me just here. There we go. Hello. But there's definitely a bit of a backpack going on there as well. And again, it's one of those things that is accurate to the source, so if indeed that bothers you, if you're looking at that and thinking, wow, what a backpack. Well, it's in the cartoon, so does that forgive all ills? I don't know, certainly not all, I would say, but it is doing what it set out to do. And I think that carries through from a look perspective overall. I mean, you can see here that he really does look a lot like his cartoon counterpart. Still not majorly sold on that face, but generally speaking, looks-wise, they've done a good job here. Now, articulation-wise, you've got a ball-jointed head, so that moves around pretty freely, and you've got that jaw joint as well that we've already mentioned. Now, the shoulders are on a ball joint as well, so they go up quite far, but then actually you can get a little bit extra if you just unpeg them there at that joint, and they will go all the way up and over. Slightly impeded at the back just there by the old backpack, of course, and then you've got an elbow bend just there. Now, there is this actual kind of second hinge for the hand, which is a little bit strange. I don't quite know how I feel about that. I guess it's going to be helpful in some situations, but a bit of a weird one, don't know. And you do actually get just a little hinge in the claw as well, so that's kind of cool. You then get a waist swivel, just like you found on the original toy actually, and a very weird ab crunch with these kind of moving pieces here on the abs. Just kind of moving with it, as you can see, they're kind of in little slats. Very, very strange. If you pull back too far, then they will come, there you go, just unpegged like so. So, I don't know, maybe don't do that. Thighs have got some serious ratchets going on, which is kind of nice. There is a little bit of give in them, actually, I will say, a little bit of wobble going on just there, but they feel sturdy enough once they're in place. And same is true going that way as well, much softer ratchets going that way, but still. And then at the knees, you get about a 90-degree bend, like so. There is, of course, that little joint just there as well for the transformation. Shame that doesn't lock into place in any way, because you will find that you're readjusting that quite a bit in the robot mode as well, but hey ho. And then there is also an ankle tilt and foot articulation going on there. All of which means he's quite articulated on the whole. I'm really, really pleased. And the original toy was pretty good in that score as well. As I said, it had things like a waist swivel going on already, which for the time was really pretty good. But this guy certainly takes it up a notch and feels very poseable as a result. Now, one pose that I definitely do want to check out is the one where you can replicate the way that he uses his cat head or his hands in robot mode as a weapon in the cartoon. And you can indeed, there we go, bring their hands together like so, exactly like he does in the show. I will say though, there's a little bit of a compromise because you kind of need to detach the shoulders just there and kind of bring them forward, and it does look a little bit unnatural. And there we go, the hands are just popping open slightly as well, but once you get them in place, I don't know, it doesn't look too bad actually, I will say, and it seems to hold fairly stably, but yeah, definitely a little bit of a compromise with the shoulders. It can be done though, and whilst it definitely does look better at some angles than others, actually, it's a big improvement on the original toy, which couldn't do that at all, so I'm very grateful for it. Then of course, the other main accessory in robot mode is his tail weapon, just there, so you slot the two pieces together, and it's really nice. As I say, it's got this kind of bent or kind of bendy material to it, which is really, really cool. And yeah, it's quite pliable, and it actually holds in position as well, so very, very nicely done. That then just pegs into his hand or his claw, just with a little peg hole on the inside there. It's not the most stable thing ever, but it will hold quite nicely, it's fair to say. Overall then, I'm pretty impressed with this robot mode so far. I definitely think it's got the look down, as I say. Articulation's really nice as well. I do think a couple of the joints could be just a little bit tighter, but overall, it feels very solid and sturdy as well. The chrome looks exceptional, so I'm happy on that score. I'm even kinda coming around to that face ever so slowly, so that's something. I mean, overall what you're getting here is very much in line with their Optimus Primal toy, which I was impressed with as well, and I really like what they've got going here as a bit of a burgeoning lineup. Can't wait to see them tackle other characters, maybe stuff like Rat Trap as well. That'd be really exciting, but they have got more stuff on the way. I just saw they're doing an Optimal Optimus. I literally just saw that this afternoon, and I can't wait for that. But you know, both of these guys so far really solid and really good products. Very similar to the original toys in their way, but still entirely new designs, so yeah, good stuff so far. But then here he is with a couple of Masterpiece Beast Wars toys, and I've got to say, he slots right in. You've got him here with Black Arachnia and Dinobot, both of which shared the screen with Cheetor in his Transmetal form, and I really like how that looks. I think Transart are doing a great job at bringing these characters to life in a way that fits with the official line. And here you have him with the official Masterpiece Cheetor, and of course that's a representation of his Season 1 show model, and I still think they look really good together. If you were building a collection of Cheetors, you could do worse than these two guys, although I will say that I think the official toy takes it on the head sculpt. And speaking of Transmetal Cheetor toys with weird head sculpts, here's the original of course, and he's got that weird grimace going on that I was never a fan of even back in the day, so I'm a little bit dismayed that the Transart version doesn't, you know, completely perfect the head sculpt. That would have been nice, but still it's a lot of fun seeing these two together. I do love the original toy, and this does feel like a nice new version as well. I'll stop short of saying upgrade because I still really rate the original, but it's not hard to see why people think it's a KO as well, even though, as I say, it is an entirely original design. So far so good then, but let's go ahead and check out Transformation to Beast Mode. Well, there we go, and that's really very straightforward. Overall, it's got to be said, very quick and easy, especially if you've got the original toy. You're going to find it's mostly very similar, just as it was with their Optimus Primal toy and the original Transmetal toy there, so it is here as well. That's not a criticism though by any means, because the original Transmetal toys were very show accurate first of all, but also very good toys. So you know, the fact that Transart haven't seen the need to do like a complete overhaul on the design and all of that, it speaks volumes really in that regard. But there is a lot of new engineering going on here as well, so it's well worth a look, and I think, you know, it doesn't do more than what it needs to. It's simple but clever, and the result is spectacular. Let me tell you, this beast mode is brilliant. Like, I love Transmetal Cheetor's beast mode so much. I just think it's a design that is just very elegant and very beautiful to me, and I think that Transart have done a great job with it here. And free of the quibble of the robot mode face, I've got to say there's not really a lot to not like here visually. It's just very striking indeed. It's everything I wanted it to be in cat form. And look at that gold, it's just so eye-catching. I mean, this time around I really feel they've nailed the face, you know, in beast mode. The eyes are spectacular, the sculpt and the design of it all is just spot on to the cartoon. It looks great. Slight oddity in how the mouth moves, because it's still in two halves, obviously for the claws just there, so you will find that when you move the mouth you need to do both parts just like that, which is a little bit of a weird one, not quite what I would have expected. I would have thought there might be a way to join those up slightly, but hey ho, not the end of the world. Got a bit of a close-up on some of the paint applications just there on top of that chrome as well. It really does look great. Some nice robotic detailing along the side here, including in areas such as the legs just there. Of course, you've got this little kind of abdomen section just there as well that we already looked at in the robot mode. It's all good stuff. I really like the way that the weapon plugs in really securely as the tail, and of course you've got all of that advantage of that kind of malleable tail there as well. That's really good. And there's loads of joints in these legs as well. I mean, actually might be one of the most posable big cat modes I've seen in a long time. There is a bit of side-to-side articulation in the head, as you can see, which I think is really clever considering how it all comes together. No bend in the neck or anything like that, like a little bit of twist just on account of transformation, but that's the kind of main bit of articulation there, but that's good. Quite a bit happening in these legs, which can fan out from side to side like so, and then of course you've got a little bit of twist just there. You got a bit of posability at the knees, is that what they're called? And then quite a decent ankle tilt as well in the cat feet. Same is basically true at the rear. Of course, they're basically just the they are just the robot mode legs, just kind of folded up, so you get all of that same articulation, including this little point just there, and again with a bit of ankle tilt, so that's nice. And with the bendy tail as well, it all adds up to make this guy feel very posable overall, not to mention some really solid joints, so it's just a bit of a joy, to be honest. But let's go ahead and check out some of this guy's main gimmicks. Now, the first thing you want to do is return this little kind of blade piece to his tail, which I'd taken off for transformation, and then come on, you know what's going to happen next, don't you? Just press this little button here on his back, and Way! Yep, that's how you get him very quickly into his flying cheetah mode, and I'm sure some people will think it's ridiculous if they've never seen Beast Wars before, but you know what, for me, this is everything. Anyway, next you want to take your flight stand and plug in some of those bits that come with it. That's really all very simple enough, it just kind of slots together like so. And then of course you can position him on the flight stand in his super cat pose, and whilst it is a lot of fun, it's got to be said, it's really not the most stable. I mean, yeah, there you go. I don't know, it's this little peg which is supposed to connect onto the end of the flight stand just there, and it just, I don't know, just doesn't hold very stably. Not to worry though, as I've subbed in one of my own flight stands and I think he looks really, really good. And then of course I've got these little blue translucent blast effect pieces on the go as well, and that really kind of completes the look. It's a lot of fun. And you know, again, I'm sure some people will think that looks ridiculous, but to me, it's just brilliant. Honestly, absolutely brilliant. This is everything I wanted from a sort of masterpiece style Transmetal cheetor in many ways. So yeah, a lot of fun to be had in this mode, and you know, I do think that he looks phenomenal next to their Optimus Primal as well. Just these two really knocked it out the park, both of them. I'm super impressed. I cannot wait to see more of their toys. Overall then, I'm super impressed with this guy. Aside from not really caring about the robot mode face all that much, there's really not a lot to dislike elsewhere. I think the cat mode is solid as anything. It looks gorgeous, transformation's nice and simple. It's a great callback to the original toy, and it looks like the cartoon. What can I say? It's a toot. Now, as already mentioned, this review comes courtesy of the wonderful TF Source, so you will find a link to their site in the video description below. But I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Do you like what you see? Not so sure? Let me know in the comments below. Big shout out to all my Patreon supporters as well, who of course got the benefit of seeing this video a little bit early. Details coming up in just a moment. If you do want to support me in exchange for some awesome perks, please do. Otherwise, that's it from me, so don't forget to drop me a like if you enjoyed today's video, and have a great rest of your day. TTFN.